Hello and welcome to another episode of the Paytech Show. Now in this episode we're going to be investigating cross-border instant payments and how some fintechs have been effectively streamlining it far better than the institutions. Apply Financial join us to speak about cross-border payments and the way incredible advances in speed and accuracy are helping millions of people around the world. We also sit down with multi-currency account provider Franxx and cross-border payment platform Currencycloud. First up, we take a look at the changes faced by the industry over the last couple of years.
So Mark, Apply Financial started 9 years ago. Can you tell us how you've seen the payments industry changing over the past few years?
Yeah, so in 2010, when we started the company, we were pitching our applications at banks, predominantly at banks, and very quickly we realised that a better place to pitch would be with the new fintechs coming along, because they were providing more customer-centric solutions. And key to us is making the customer experience a lot easier, eradicating human and data error as part of that process. So we could say that over the last 9 years we started out being very focused on the fintech marketplace, working with them. But recently, over the last couple of years, I think the banks, the card companies have looked at bank-to-bank payments, particularly cross-border payments, learnt some lessons from fintechs, probably even acquired some of the fintechs. And so now we're much more engaged with the banks again than we were when we first started, because they've accepted an API world, cloud-based applications, speed of operation, customer-centric applications. And we fit right in that, and it works really well with the banks.
Can you give me a bit of background to Franxx?
Yeah, Franxx is a fintech company focused on cross-border payments and currency exchange. We offer our clients a platform in which they can convert currency, and they can use our multi-currency account. The multi-currency account is a single account in which they can hold several different currencies and easily convert them into one another. I think the payment industry has changed quite a bit the last few years. Clients have become a lot more aware of the speed of the payment. At the same time, they demand more transparency. We see that a lot more parties are entering the market. You can talk about payment service providers which have entered the market, and there are a lot of different types of those. So the background, for instance, can be from an IT background. You see finance companies entering the market, and of course new entrants. What we notice is that they're all offering different types of payment solutions to clients. So for clients it can be a little bit difficult to really grasp what's out there, and we do notice that clients are looking for simplicity and to be in control.
So thank you so much for your time. Let's look at the payments industry. How much would you say it's evolved over the past few years?
Enormously, I would say. There are two main things driving that. One is obviously technology, and the other is regulation. Every company in payments is a fintech company now. Mm-hmm. You can't run in payments without being very technologically capable and advanced. The requirements for speed, efficiency, transparency are just driving that massively. We've seen some enormous changes in the regulatory environment recently with the advent of open banking driven by PSD2. It's unusual in as much as you see a business changing for the better and being more progressive as a result of some regulatory changes. Both these changes have enabled some dynamic new business models to come through, especially the open banking piece. And consumer requirements have changed quite a bit as well. Millennials and Gen Zers are increasingly demanding with what they want out of their financial services providers.
Now, we all know customer expectations scale with new technology, and the finance industry is no different in this regard. So instant cross-border payments are regarded by many as an essential service now. Our interviewees tell us more.
Well, cross-border payments is not just about a bank account and a bank code, because many countries around the world have additional requirements for payments. So for instance, there are 32 countries in the world that have payment purpose codes. And if you make a payment to India, for instance, which is one of those countries, you have to put in a mandated payment purpose code, which has a certain wording to it that explains what that payment is all about. If you don't put that in, the payment will not go through and it'll bounce back. In other countries, they have tax code regulations where they need to see tax codes. They have various countries have various other requirements. So we've built our application within Validate to be able to validate and check those different elements, and to not only do that, but we intuitively provide those fields for checking within our APIs so that our clients don't have to think about, well, if we're making a payment to Mexico, what do we have to put in? The system does it for them, and then we explain to anybody who's entering in those fields exactly what they need to do to make sure that payment will straight through process. So it's kind of helping people get through the process and get a payment to where they want to get it to on time.
There's been a real move towards speed, efficiency, and transparency in pricing. And this has not been driven by the commercial space. Commercial businesses, SMEs, have always been well served, but retail space, in particular blue collar remittance, have driven the requirement for efficiency there. We really embrace agile methodologies actually, both in terms of from a technology and our platform perspective. We're halfway through a move to microservices, which allows us to release new products, features and services on demand almost. But in terms of working practices as well, we employ an agile methodology across the entire organisation, which allows us to be able to move really quickly on non-tech related initiatives. So it's something we really embrace at all levels. When you're making international payments, you get judged on two things. One, does it go to the right place? And two, does it get there on time? And obviously cost is important as well, but speed and efficiency is everything.
Cross-border payments, you see a lot of initiatives like blockchain, like Ripple, where they really want to change the market from a technology perspective. So far, it's still in a, let's say, I would say testing phase. SWIFT is still the main tool to make cross-border payments. And of course, SWIFT is trying to improve as well. So what you see there is SWIFT is putting SWIFT GPI into the market already for quite some time now. And this really offers clients the benefits of having their money faster. It's same day, so it's not instant. It's more transparent for clients, and at the same time it offers tracking capabilities.
Does Franxx Bank use the SWIFT GPI technology to help improve its payment transfers?
We are leveraging so ABN AMRO is doing tests with SWIFT GPI, and we are leveraging of that as well.
With the advent of all the technology advances and APIs and open banking, it's never been so easy to process payments, and it's going to continue to get easier. I think there is going to be a real rise in micropayments, really led by the Internet of Things. Historically, the requirement to batch payments up and process them in large chunks, that's no longer there. Our technology certainly allows us to make payments at will, and I think that's a trend that's only going to continue.
So a lot of the instant payment infrastructures are very similar to the one that we have in the UK, and also there are differences, but the principle's the same. You want something to get from here to the destination within seconds, and so the challenge is that the information needed to validate on an overseas payment is more detailed than in a domestic payment. So we can provide validation of those pieces of information, but I think what will happen over the next few years is that the authorities and regulators will come up with a more efficient way of using instant payments in terms of the method of information or the type of information that needs to be validated. So I do see it changing, but right now the challenge is the amount of information needed and the speed in which you have to do it in.
Accuracy has always been key. If you talk about cross-border payments and about currency exchange, then accuracy is always very important. Of course, you can argue that with instant payments, the money will be even faster with the ultimate beneficiary, which might need more accuracy even than before.
Finally, we look at the way that collaboration has bolstered the efforts of banks and fintechs alike to provide the most up-to-date services.
So, can you tell us a bit about the work you're doing with Franxx over in the Netherlands?
Yeah, so Franxx came to us about 2 years ago, and they were building. Franxx is a brand new challenger bank that's been set up by ABN AMRO, and it's aimed at small to medium enterprises. And they were looking to build out a very good payment solution for overseas payments for their clients, and they wanted to do it as efficiently as possible, so that everything they're looking at was driven by APIs. which was great for us. So it was, I think it was like a match made in heaven, I would say, that they wanted to do things the way that we could provide it.
We are partnering with them on our payment services. So for us, of course, it's key that that clients who are entering their payments, that we check the validity of the data. And Apply Financial is offering an API solution in which we make sure that all the data entered by our clients is immediately checked, so that we have correct payments, and if a client fills out something which is incorrect, or then it will be directly possible for the client to amend.
Amazing. So it could effectively, even though it's an instant payment, fix the complete address and improve the accuracy of the payment.
Exactly. Before the payment is made, the client has the opportunity to make sure that the data which is filled out is correct, so that indeed under instant payments the payment is done directly.
They've been live now, I think, for probably over 12 months, and they've been great to work with because they've got the same vision. We're on the same lines as us, so it's been good so far.
Brilliant. I mean, following on from that a little bit, obviously Validate is perfect for what they were trying to do. Can you tell us a bit about what you've offered them as part of your partnership?
So basically they are looking at validating payments anywhere in the world. So I think we probably, thinking back now, 2 years ago, we started with just IBANs because they were looking at payments in Europe, but obviously their clients make payments all over the world to different suppliers and different relationships. So we provided them with the ability to validate payments in 170 countries now. There's 225 financial jurisdictions in there, I think, as well. So they've got everything they need for their clients, no matter what they're presented with by their clients in terms of payment requirement.
Tell us about your partnership with Apply Financial in particular, and how is this benefiting your customers?
So that's, in fact, Apply, one of the partnerships on the supply side that I was just alluding to just now. The service that they provide is very, very focused on payment validation and beneficiary validation, and it's a surprisingly specialist subject actually, and there's a huge amount of depth and diversity to that, and again we just couldn't do that effectively on our own, but with Apply Financial being a specialist, it enables us to get payments right first time, so we're really pleased with that.
The very similar reasons why clients will use us, or partners like Currencycloud, is that in the payment process, right up front, when somebody is entering a payment instruction, they want to check that everything's correct so that it'll just flow through the system without any manual intervention. And Currencycloud and ourselves have been talking about this for quite some time, and then eventually earlier this year we signed a deal with them, and we've been helping them validate initially with IBANs, and then it'll go global. But a number of our fintech clients are showing fantastic ways of delivering better solutions than the incumbent payment providers.
So how did Validate's API reduce not just the time to market for Currencycloud, but also help reduce the complexity for their customers?
So basically, Validate API, they have put it at the first point of contact that their customers' will use the browser system. So it immediately provides assistance and support and clarity for those people who are entering a payment, to make sure that they are confident that when they hit the button to make the payment, that it will go to where it's supposed to go to. So it's part of a number of things that Currencycloud have put into their solution to make it really slick and easy to use. So it's not about their customers so much as about their customers' customers, and the relationship they will have, and the customer journey for a payment. And we've been helping them as part of a bigger solution to deliver that better customer experience.
That's all for this episode of the Paytech Show, but be sure to check out the rest of the series and much more at www.fintech.finance. Ciao.